Are you thinking about making a move to the Twin Cities of Minnesota, but you want to know how affordable it is? Well, I'm going to break down the cost of living, including renting or buying, utilities, healthcare, transportation, groceries, and childcare, so you can make an informed decision about whether moving here fits within your budget. I'm going to start with buying and then move on to renting. So buying. The median sales price in the Twin Cities is $367,000, and that includes single-family, townhomes, and condos. If you include only single family, that number jumps up to $400,000. I'm going to show you a map, and this kind of gives you an idea of how the cost of living differs throughout the Twin Cities. So the darker the pink, the more expensive it is. But it's not like groceries are going to be substantially more expensive in one suburb than another, and it's mostly just related to the housing cost. The one thing I don't really like about this map is that it groups Minneapolis and St. Paul into one. And if you look at this map, you're like, oh wow, St. Paul's super cheap. But really, there are parts of St. Paul that are more expensive. For example, the McAllister-Groveland neighborhood is the most expensive neighborhood in St. Paul with a median sales price of $520,000. And the neighborhood with the lowest median sales price is downtown St. Paul, and that is $200,000. But that's only because they're all condos and townhouses. So next up would be the north end with a median sales price of $206,000. The prices in Minneapolis also vary pretty significantly. The near north community having a median sales price of $223,000, and then you have the southwest community, which has a median sales price of $484,000. As far as range of prices, we have homes as low as $120,000 going all the way up to the multi-millions. Now, if you're looking for homes that are specifically single-family homes that are under $200,000, I would just warn you that there's probably going to be some things that need to be done to the property. Maybe cosmetic, maybe something a little bit more major. So if you are not wanting to do a bunch of major work, I would go in with the expectation of paying closer to $250,000. And if you don't even want to do anything cosmetic, I would push that even higher into the $350,000 range. As for renting, the median rent in Minneapolis is a little over $1,300, and this is going to vary depending on which neighborhood you're in. I have friends that are paying $1,100 or $1,200, and some that are paying for a studio for like $950. But just talking about medians, for a 2-bedroom, it's $1,700. For a 3-bedroom, it's about $2,000, and for a 4-bedroom, it's about $2,350. Now, the lowest rents are going to be in North Minneapolis and neighborhoods in North Minneapolis, and the highest rents are going to be in neighborhoods in Central Minneapolis. If you want to know what the rents are like in the area, this very specific area that you want to move to, you can always look at this website called Rentometer or Rentometer. I don't know how you're supposed to say it, but you can type it in and you can get a free trial, and that way it gives you more information. But it's really handy to have, and it's really nice to be able to look up specifically what the rental rates are in your area, just so you have a better idea before you get here. Next up is utilities. So the average monthly cost for utilities is $367, breaking down to $90 for electric, $54 for gas, $70 for water and sewer, and then $60 if you want to include internet as well. Of course, it's going to vary depending on the energy efficiency of your appliances as well as your usage and your family size. But just to give you an example, there's only 2 of us living in my house. It's about 1,800 square feet, and the utilities come out to about $300 per month, with electricity being the most expensive. But overall, Minnesota actually has the 12th cheapest utilities in the country. In Minnesota, we have MNsure, which is not health insurance, but it's a health insurance marketplace, and it's the only place that Minnesotans can apply for any kind of financial help. And most Minnesotans actually do qualify for at least a little bit of help. We have Medicaid and medical assistance, which covers you for basically everything, and has an income limit for a single person of $12,000 to $14,000. However, that amount does go up if you have children. And don't worry if you don't qualify for that. There's also Minnesota Care, and that's coverage based on your income and your family size. Healthcare can get really complicated because, of course, it's going to depend on what your employer provides for you as well, if they do provide health insurance. But just know, if you don't have an employer that provides you with health insurance, you do have a good amount of options. Just to give you a better idea, if you're a single person, you can expect to have monthly premiums of around $275, but your deductible is going to be kind of high, probably around $8,000. Now, you can choose to have a higher monthly payment so that your deductible is lower, and so say you're paying closer to $360 a month, your deductible is going to be around $1,700 instead. So you can kind of pick and choose what you think is going to be the most beneficial to you. So to get the amount for groceries, what I did is I went on several different websites. I went on Cub Foods, Hy-Vee, Fresh Time, Festival, and Target Grocery, And what I found is that a lot of them seem to have similar prices, those ones that I looked at least. So what I did, I put in my normal list of items that I get every week, which is about 11, and then I just saw how the costs compare. And they were all within $5 of each other, except for Aldi, which is about $15 or $20 less than everything else. And really, if you buy in bulk, you could Costco would probably beat all of them out. I found that some places they might have cheaper strawberries, but they have more expensive oat milk or vice versa. And groceries at places like Whole Foods or Lunds and Byerly's or any co-ops are going to be more expensive overall. But the ranges I'm going to give you now, the lowest price is likely going to be the store brand, and then the highest price is either going to be the organic one or the really popular brand. And then so most of the prices kind of fall in the middle. So a package of 4 chicken breasts is around $16. If you're looking at eggs, a dozen eggs cost about anywhere from $2.50 to $7.50. And the ones that are $7.50 are going to be like the cage-free, pasteurized eggs, and then the store brands, of course, would be the cheapest. A gallon of milk costs anywhere from $3.50 to $7.29, and the most expensive stuff is going to be organic, but there are a couple of name brands in the middle price. If you like milk alternatives, those prices I feel like have been going up like crazy. I get a certain brand of oat milk and I swear it went up $2 in the last year, but that's usually around $5 for half a gallon. As for bread, there are so many different kinds of bread, so that can range from $2 to $8, and if you're familiar with Dave's Killer Bread, that's of course going to be one of the most expensive brands. But there's a really good loaf of sourdough that I get, and it's like $5, super good quality. And I think you can find a really good brand of bread for $5. 1 pound of ground beef is going to be anywhere from $6.50 to $10.75. Some veggies get kind of expensive, and I realized this when I went to Festival the other day, because when I looked at the Festival website, it said that peppers were cheaper, but I found that they're just smaller than they are at cup. But anyway, they're about $2.29 each. Broccoli crowns are $1.79 to $2.99 per bunch. Blueberries are around $6 for 12 ounces. And if you want to get organic blueberries, they're going to be $6 for half that amount. Zucchini is about $2 to $2.50 per pound. What I find is that all the produce is a lot cheaper at Aldi. And if you go to, like I said earlier, Whole Foods, Lunds and Byerly's, or any co-op, the produce there is going to be more expensive. If you eat a lot of produce, I would highly recommend taking advantage of the farmers markets that we have all throughout the Twin Cities, because you can get a lot of really, really good produce. I think it's better than probably 95% of the grocery stores, and it's definitely at a competitive price. Next up, transportation. So if you rely on public transportation, there are some cost-effective ways that you can get around. We have a weekly pass, and that's about $24 a week, and you can also get a reloadable card. Now, if you want to get a monthly pass, there are options for, there's a $65 one and then a $120 one. And the more expensive one is not going to have any restrictions. The one that's $65 is going to have some restrictions based on rush hour and increased fees. But if you are not even thinking about public transportation because you drive everywhere anyway, I'll let you know about the gas prices, which seem to be forever changing. But right now, this day in January 2024, the gas prices are staying at $2.99 where I am in the south. So if you go a little bit farther north in the northern suburbs, for some reason it tends to be a little bit cheaper up there. I've seen it at $2.65, but where I am currently, it's been at $2.99 for almost 2 weeks, and normally it changes, I swear, every freaking week, but this week, or this month, it's kind of stayed at $2.99. That's really not reliable information. That could change next month, but if you're watching this in January 2024, now you know the gas prices are currently $2.99 a gallon. So Minnesota is the 4th most expensive state for childcare, and unfortunately it went up 60% after the pandemic. One of the reasons for this is that Minnesota has stricter teaching guidelines, and they follow a ratio of 4:1 or 4 students to each teacher, whereas in most states follow a ratio of closer to 9:1. But the nice thing, I'm sure you already know this if you have children, is that childcare does get cheaper the older that they get. The average costs break down as follows. So 0 to 12 months average is $1,312. 12 to 24 months is $1,156 per month. 2 to 5 years, $1,028, and 5 to 11 years after school care is about $904 a month. I know that childcare can be a huge cost for some people, so I wanted to make sure that I put it in this video so you were aware of what the average costs are. And I would also say be sure to get yourself on a waiting list as soon as possible, as soon as you know you're gonna move, because they fill up really fast. I hope this video gave you a better idea of what you can expect the cost to be if you move to the Twin Cities, but if you wanna know what the pros and cons are to living here, you should watch this video next.